welcome to Surviving Adulthood if it is your first time here. Today's video I'm doing, I believe it's a tag, but I'm not too sure, but it's 10 things that I would tell my younger self. Now this is a little bit personal, but I really think that through people's mistakes or through people reflecting about their past and their choices that they made, that you could actually learn something from it. So right now I'm 24 years old, but these are a lot of things that I wish I knew when I was a teenager, when I was in high school, and when I was super insecure. So maybe you're in high school right now, or maybe you're younger than me and you have these certain kinds of feelings. Hopefully you are able to learn to be stronger and to be more confident faster than how long it took me. So basically that's my whole purpose for doing this video. I hope you enjoyed it. At the end, if you do, make sure that you subscribe to this channel for more videos like it. Without further ado, here are 10 things in no particular order that I would tell my younger self. First thing that I would tell my younger self is to stop looking for validation from every single body. When I was younger, I had like an inferiority complex where I just felt like everybody else had it together, and I was the only person in the whole wide world that didn't have it together, that was lacking in every type of way possible. So I was just, I would just always be like really nervous to talk, or really nervous to like say anything, because I always felt like it may be the wrong thing to say. So I was just really nervous, and although I felt like, I had this great personality and I was funny and I was smart, I ended up being just like really closed off because I was so scared of saying the wrong thing, and I always felt like people were judging me. And now I know that it's all in my head, but back then I was just so afraid to be myself because I was so scared of being judged. The second thing I would tell my younger self is stop allowing people's opinions to have such an effect on you. When I was younger, somebody would say one bad thing to me and I would carry it with me for the entire day, week, or months even, and I would allow it to affect me. And it would it would inhibit me, I would say. I'm trying to say dehabilitate. Yeah, dehabilitate. I don't know if I'm using it correctly. In real life, I'm smart, but in camera, like, I can't. But yeah, I feel like I would allow it to prevent me from being myself, because it would just keep playing on the back of my head, like, you're fat, like, you've gained so much weight. It would just continue to play in my head, so much so the majority of my middle school years I wore sweatpants, because that's around the time where I started gaining weight, and I just wanted to hide myself. I didn't want anybody to see my body, and that caused me to gain even more weight and to become like super jiggly, because I was never wearing jeans. I didn't want to show off my body. I was just so uncomfortable. The third thing I would tell myself is don't let distance and hard work keep you from being an extraordinary person. So when I was younger, I had some opportunities to go to like acting school, to go to a really good high school, and certain like just really great opportunities that I passed on because they were too far. I was used to always going to a school that was just a couple of blocks away from me. So when I had the opportunity to go to a school that was in the city, back then it was like, oh my god, like I would have to take the train all by myself. I was just so scared that I wouldn't go towards it. And then when I was younger, I was also scared of hard work. I would do certain things up until it became something where I had to work on. So even with acting, when I first started acting, it was innate to me, like certain things to do. I was comfortable in being a different person on stage and just acting completely crazy. And during middle school and during the beginning of high school, it made people look at me like, oh wow, she's such a great actress. But I hadn't really learned any techniques and things like that. I was just, I just had what I was born with, the things that came innate to me. As I got a little bit older and people were asking me to audition for certain things, people were asking me to be in their shows and things like that, I realized, I had to be groomed. There's other things that I had to learn. And that idea of working hard, the idea of wanting something bad enough that if it doesn't happen that she'll be disappointed, kept me away from really going out and being the best that I can be, because I was just so scared. I was okay with just being good enough. I wasn't able to get out of my head long enough to do the above and beyond to get further in acting and in life. The fourth thing is that the boys will come. So when I was in elementary school and middle school, I went to schools where I was one of the few black people there. So ain't no boys was checking for me because I was dark skinned. I didn't have long hair. I was dark skinned and short hair. Like, no one was checking for that. So I used to feel so inadequate and felt so ugly, and secretly wish I was lighter and had longer hair and straighter hair and things like that. I was just really like, you know, nobody was checking for me. I was funny and I was fun to have around, but nobody was trying to date me or whatever the case may be. And then I got to high school and college and people started checking for me. So I would tell my younger self, like, there is nothing wrong with you and absolutely something wrong with everybody else. You are fine the way that you are. You'll eventually blossom into a beautiful young lady. So the fifth thing I would tell myself is to stop it with the weaves and the perms and the flat ironing and the tight braids, because your edges will go and it will take forever for it to grow back. So I've cut off my hair twice in the last 3 years. I've even shaved off my edges because my edges are taking so long to grow back. And even now, they've grown back, but they're still thin. And I wish I could go back in time and smack my younger self and tell myself, girl, invest in a wig if you don't want to wear your natural hair. Leave the weaves and the tight braids alone, because edges are so hard to grow back. The number six thing I would tell myself is stop eating. Stop eating everything. Dieting and exercising is hard. You're not gonna like it. You don't like to exercise like that. You're not a very active person. So stop eating everything. So number 7 is a little bit more serious. What I would tell the seventh thing that I would tell my younger self is to say no to chemo. So last year around this time, I lost my father to cancer. And if I could go back in time 2 years ago, like 2 years ago, I would tell myself to say no to chemo, because I really feel like, you know, I don't know about every other cancer situation, but I know for my father's specific situation, I felt like he was okay with getting medications that kept his symptoms down, that he didn't really need an active medication to fight his cancer, because he was, who knows, like, you know, like, the situation happened one way. I can't go back in time and redo everything and see that it would have been a different turnout if we did something else, but I felt like he as a person was taken away from us quicker than normal, because his body was actively having to fight this thing. Whereas when he was getting medication to keep his symptoms down, he was still able to work, and he was still able to live his life normally and still be able to be active and talk and be normal and whatever. So if I could go back in time, what I would tell my younger self is to be vocal and say no to chemo. The 8th thing that I would tell myself is that you're more important. When I was younger, you know, and a part of being this insecure person and being closed off to myself and things like that, it was also displayed in relationships when I did finally get into relationships and boys and stuff like that, which is, you know, more recent. I would put the idea of having a relationship and being with somebody above everything else. So even if I wasn't happy, even sometimes a person would ask me to go against my morals, I would think about it. I wouldn't necessarily do it, but I would think about it, because it felt like it kept being a thing where I wouldn't be in any type of situation, relation, whatever, and then somebody would come along and it would be nice and fun like that, and then the person would ask me to go against my morals. And it would happen so many times that I really started to like second guess, like, are you supposed, like, am I just being crazy? Am I just like, am I the only person who's not trying to do that? So it really I wish I could go back and tell myself like, yo, you're justified, you're okay, you're not crazy, you're not living in la la land and fairy tale land. You can be with somebody who respects your morals. The ninth thing that I would tell my younger self is you're not alone. When I was younger, I thought I was the only kid having to go through what I was going through, living in a Haitian household. Some of the things like not being able to have sleepovers, not being able to wear certain things, and all this craziness. I really thought I was the only person, that everybody else, their parents was giving them freedom and they were able to do whatever they want. They were allowed to talk to boys and have boyfriends and stuff like that. But now that I'm older, I watch these like videos, those viral videos, and I'm cracking up. And it's just so like, it just feels so good to see that you're not the only person, that like we all had to go through that. None of us was able to go to sleepovers. You weren't the only one. Nobody was like, if it wasn't school, church, or like doctor's appointments or whatever, you was staying your butt home. So I'm glad to see that I was not the only one. And number 10, the final and maybe the most important thing that I would tell my younger self is that it gets easier. That, you know, although right now you feel alone and you feel sad and you feel trapped and all this stuff, you're gonna get older, you're gonna become an adult, you're gonna learn so many other things, you're gonna become more comfortable in yourself, you're gonna become more confident, you're going to be like okay with the person that you are. And although you'll still have moments where you're awkward and you feel sad and you feel lonely, you'll realize that nobody has power over you, that you're not the only person, that you don't need to feel uncomfortable because nobody is better than you. Everybody's just human, just like you. So yeah, so apparently if I had to go back in time to talk to my younger self, I would just be smacking myself up and be like, girl, get your life together, be more confident, like get your life. So if you're young right now and you're going through some of the things that I mentioned, feelings of insecurity, feeling of inadequacy, and all these things, just know that it gets better. You'll get older, you'll learn more things, you'll become more confident, and you'll feel more accepting of yourself. And once you are accepting of yourself, you'll be able to accept others and be happy for others and just be a happy, joyous person. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. This video that's a little bit longer than usual. I know in the beginning I used to have like 15-minute long, but now I'm trying to have 5-minute videos, and I know this one's a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to cut it so it's not as long. I'm trying to make it so that it's under 10 minutes. But thank you so much for watching. Please leave comments down below. Let me know what you're interested in seeing. I have so many ideas of what I would want to see from a YouTuber, but I don't know if it's necessarily what you guys are looking to see from me. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on this channel. Bye!
Brushed my hair, went downstairs. Favorite jeans on my